lot of items here. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to talk about is kind of relates to the heat. It's definitely going to be affected by this heat wave in particular. Uh, it is about Walmart again. I hate Walmart so much. Um, it came from something that sounded relatively innocuous at the start until I thought about it for literally 1 second. It took me all of 1 second to figure why they were doing this. Walmart is going to start using what's the term? Electronic price tags. You know, in the store, each item has that little plastic card underneath it that says how much it costs, but that's subject to change. They, like, you know, there are sales sometimes, which gives way to a whole bunch of manipulative sales practices, where they'll like say something was marked down from a price, but they never sold it at that price to begin with. They're doing a worse version of that, which is basically having the price card just be on a screen. So that means that they can change their prices literally on a dime. Let's go to More Perfect Union, because of course that's where I get all of my news from. Not all of it, a good amount of it, but a lot of news. Walmart is replacing price stickers with electronic shelf labels across 2,300 stores. This is not just some like random change. This is massive. Like this, they're rolling this out probably at most of the stores that they have. How many stores do they even have in the U.S.? Walmart locations in the U.S. How is it knowing that there are probably 40 times more idiots in the USA because y'all have about 20 times bigger populations than us? Plus, come on, it's the goddamn USA. Well, that's only 2 times proportionally. I mean, it kind of sucks, but that's a political problem that can be solved. Fundamentally, the reason that Americans seem to be so dumb a lot of the times is because there's a distinct lack of political education. There's a distinct lack of access to higher education, which I assure you is not an accident. And, most Americans will have, they have a heart of gold anyway. America, one of the most progressive countries in the world, if you take like survey opinions of the population. So I don't feel that bad about it. Let's see, how many Walmart locations in the U.S.? 4,717 in the U.S. So this is almost half of this is more than a third of their locations, almost half. That they are doing these electronic price tags. I mean, as a joke, but that's a good point. Yeah. One industry analyst says, okay, this is the real thing. Yeah, this could be a precursor for surge pricing. One industry analyst says, if it's hot outside, we can raise the price of water and ice cream. Absolute demon shit. Demon shit. You know that this is not an accident that they're rolling this out now. That like the biggest heat wave America has ever seen in like, certainly in my memory, like holy shit. And they're like, yeah, why don't we just why don't we just roll out this new pricing scheme that enables us to do surge pricing way more easily, and then from there like raise the price of specifically water and ice cream when it gets hot outside. And you fucking know that since it's Walmart, they're not going to lower those prices, baby. If they can afford to keep them there, they're going to keep them there. This just means that the sort of surge pricing model that everybody hates is now going to be applied to things as basic as food. I don't think I care much for Slash right now. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. Especially because most people in the United States are in an economically precarious situation in the first place. Yeah, somebody points out in the replies here, hurricane coming, price increase. Snowstorm coming, price increase. Heat wave coming, price increase. Literally anything that happens that could justify a price increase, they're going to be able to do it basically at the push of a button. And they're going to leave it there. Walmart is. It's it's just an acceleration of the pricing model that we've already been seeing, because a lot of companies already have been doing the thing where they raise their prices and then don't lower them, but the sort of the way in which they had to do it was not really flexible enough to be applied to like a surge pricing model. Does that make sense? Like, it took longer for a store to raise its prices from like a logistical perspective. So they couldn't do it as quickly and keep it there as readily. But now they can. So, you know how Ubers cost 4 times as much whenever people are out and about, like on the weekend or whatever? Now grocery stores are going to do that. They're just going to make food like 10 times as expensive when it's like Saturday. That's when a lot of people do grocery shopping. And it's going to be really bad. For the reason of like people not being able to afford it, but also because of something that kind of gets slept on is that it's going to force a much more even dispersal of people across the week to do their grocery shopping. And even then, it's going to raise the price of groceries. Capitalist innovation? Yeah, it is. And it's highly alienating, too. Because if you think about it, if you go to the grocery store on a regular day, you're more likely to see certain people there that also go to the grocery store on that day, right? This is the case for myself and my parents. You know, when we go grocery shopping, there's a number of people who go to the grocery store to get their groceries at around the same time as we do. Some people that we know, even. But that's going to upset everybody's schedules. It's going to make groceries hellishly expensive. There might be a food pricing crisis in the United States as much as a rent crisis if this goes through. Because just like RealPage is sort of a go-between for rental companies and landlords to fix prices for apartments, this is going to have some kind of go-between for grocers to just set their prices at absurd levels, even more so than they were doing already, which they kind of were. Wait, what Pokemon was that? I actually didn't see. Goldeen, okay. And, you know, the main distinction here between this and Uber, I refer to Uber as another entity that does surge pricing. That's not an essential service. Now, granted, transit is an essential, like it is a need, but there are times when you don't necessarily need transit, right? It's not like an absolute necessity that an Uber be available at all times, theoretically, because even in a place with like really car-driven infrastructure, most people have a car and have some kind of means of getting around without Uber, right? There is no alternative to getting your food at the grocery store. In fact, there's such a thing as food deserts, where, like, the nearest store for food, despite you being in the middle of a goddamn farm, will be a Walmart 4 miles away. And you better believe that companies are going to be squeezing money out of that ever more. Because there's now, in addition to the existing problems, there's the added, for corporations, the added benefit of being able to do surge pricing with something for which there's inelastic demand, which means there's no incentive for the price to ever come down. This is the reason that healthcare is so expensive. You die if you don't have medicine. You die if you don't have food. So, what is the highest price that you would be willing to pay for something like food or medicine? It's infinite, because you need it. You would die otherwise. Everybody doesn't need an Uber, right? You'll live. It might be more inconvenient to get around or something like that, but most people can get around without an Uber. It's fine. This is just I don't know really how else to describe this other than pure evil for the sake of meeting the interests of the capital class and shareholders, right? And the messed up thing is, because it's Walmart, I almost don't even know what you could do to stop it, except for, like, I don't know, everybody at Walmart go on strike, or maybe have, like, one of the relevant government agencies, like, crack down on them hard and be like, all right, that's it. All of you are going to prison. We don't care what the charges are. We're going to, like, basically use the long arm of the state in the most direct way possible to just, like, you know, do a gamer move, as it were. Man, fuck Walmart. And you know that it's not just going to be Walmart doing this. If the initial rollout for Walmart is at nearly half of all of their locations in the United States, then you know that it's going to be like no time at all before other grocery stores pick up on this and implement it in their stores. You know, places like Target, like Safeway, like Giant, and Food Lion, and Kroger, and wherever else. You know, this is not very far from being implemented in most grocery stores. You know, because they all have an incentive to do so. And there's already a pretty decent indication that they would, you know, go through that. Like I said, Walmart's rolling this out at nearly half of their locations. Usually initial rollouts are much more limited if they're just looking to do a pilot that they're not super sure about. Come back to silence, man, fuck Walmart. Never agreed more. That's a good thing to come back to. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make that a segment. I might, but if I do, future me, cut it there.